Oh yeah. Five-star. LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This is the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up. Hey, 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 way down in the back.
I am live. It'll just be me today. We'll do about 30 minutes here on this show. Zach unfortunately got called into work this morning, so is unable to join me. But it's no worry. We will discuss all things LSU. We'll discuss today's game. We'll discuss last week's game and a little bit around college football. To kind of start off the show, I do want to hit on some recruiting tidbits because obviously it is, what we call flip season right now in the recruiting front. And LSU has flipped a recruit, and LSU has also had some recruits flip, or a recruit flip from them, and another decommit as well. CJ Jackson last week committed to LSU after his visit in Baton Rouge this past weekend against Auburn. We had pretty big recruiting weekend with some top recruits, especially in the 2025 class. But CJ Jackson, top 100 player, edge rusher, decommitted from Georgia Tech and commits to the LSU Tigers. So a big get for Brian Kelly and this staff. Obviously, we need defensive linemen, and we need guys who can get after the quarterback. So CJ Jackson was a great addition to this class. You did see JoJo Stone decommit, and Andre Evans flipped to Georgia. Now, really only one of these really hurts you, and that's Andre Evans. JoJo Stone decommitted, and I think that this is a mutual parting between the Tigers and JoJo. JoJo's a great athlete. Don't get me wrong. He's, I think, going to be really good wherever he goes. But it looks as if LSU is going to land another top 100 player that decommitted from Texas A&M. That is Draylon Miller. And, no disrespect to JoJo whatsoever. We really like JoJo, and honestly, I wish we could have kept him in the class. We actually had him on the show. But look, if you need to make room for a top 100 player and a higher rated receiver in Draylon Miller, it is what it is. So you're not really hurting there losing JoJo Stone. And let's be real, LSU always has great receivers. But the one that really stings is losing Andre Evans. Andre Evans is a great DB. We need DBs desperately. He is a top 100 player out of Nashville, Tennessee, and he flips to Georgia, who already is sitting at number one in the class. So, yeah, that really stings. That one really hurts because that's a position of need, and it that he goes to a place like Georgia that probably doesn't even need him nearly as bad as LSU needs him. So, kind of surprising, but you have Kai Bates, you have Deshaun McBride committed in this class, and Juwan Johnson. Maybe you can go land another one, in this class. I would not be surprised if they did. But it's a little bit on recruiting real quick. I think there's some more to come. Draylon has not committed yet, but I would suspect that Draylon would be making his way to the Tigers, or committing to the Tigers. Not in the distant future, probably in the near future. So, let's talk a little bit about the Auburn game. It was a dominant performance. I mean, let's just be honest. It was very dominant. I told y'all that this was a mismatch nightmare for Auburn. And the real question was whose bad side of the ball would do better? Would LSU's defense step up or would Auburn's offense step up? How was that going to play? Because Auburn's defense was really good and LSU's offense was really good. And to me, I think our offense always outweighed their defense. I think our offense outweighs just about any defense in the country. I think this offense can score 30 on anybody, any given day. I think this offense can drop 30. Um, if we were to play Florida State again, I think we would have no problem dropping 30 on them. But man, more importantly, what we've been more concerned about is the defense. And man, the defense just did their job. I mean, they started the game the way you needed to start the game with, I think, at least two. I know it was at least two, but it may have been three consecutive 3-and-outs for the LSU defense. I think it was two, but regardless, there were multiple 3-and-outs for this defense against this Auburn offense throughout this game. And starting the game right is really important for this team because the defense just isn't as good. And if you are able to hold an offense early, whereas our offense seems like it's going to score at will, starting early, it's going to be difficult for teams to keep up with LSU's offense. So when you held Auburn early in this game and gave LSU like a 17-point lead, it was 17-0, 20-0, I think. Before Auburn eventually scored, like it was a recipe for success. Man, Jake Daniels, Malik Neighbors continue to impress. Logan Diggs, Jaden again, just balled out over 300 yards passing, 93 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. I wanted him to get another touchdown. I wanted him to have 4 so he would continue that streak of games with 4 touchdowns or more. But he gets 3 touchdowns. How about Kyron Lacey, man? Kind of a coming out party for him this season. He hasn't, quite got going. And look, man, if you're going to focus on bracket coveraging Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, it goes to show you there's another option out there. And Kyron goes over 100 yards and a touchdown. Just a great day for him. Malik still had a great day. Had a touchdown early in the game, the first touchdown of the game. Malik continued to do what Malik does, even when you bracket double coverage him. But they were doing it to both Malik and Brian Thomas, which opened the door for Kyron Lacey to have a big game. So don't think because you're going to try and limit Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors that this offense is going to die. It will not. Because we will hand the ball off to Logan Diggs. We will throw the ball to Kyron Lacey. And Malik Neighbors still finds ways to get open regardless. And Jaden Daniels can kill you with his legs. So this offense is just elite. But, man, hats off to the defense for probably their best performance all year long. Multiple 3-and-outs, turnovers, and I don't think we had a turnover. Now I think about it. But you made them punt the ball several times, and if you're making a team punt the ball several times, this LSU offense is going to make you pay for that. I need to go look at that real quick and see if we did have a turnover. I don't think we. Jaden turned the ball. No turnovers for our defense. Well, look, Jaden did have that interception, and it was a batted ball in the air. I mean, really, Jaden hasn't made, in my opinion, one bad interception this year. I'm trying to think of how his second interception happened. I remember the one from Florida State where Malik fell down. Like, that's not on Jaden. The one against Auburn, it wasn't on Jaden. The ball was batted in the air, and defense caught the batted ball. I think the one against it was against Arkansas. I mean that the one against Arkansas may have been, Jaden should have made that read a little bit better. It was when Dwight McGothern got him, and honestly, it was just really good coverage from Dwight. He played off of Mason Taylor, and read read that Jaden Daniels was kind of read the play and how it developed and cut the route off and picked the ball off, and so maybe that was on Jaden. But point is, Jaden continues to play very, very well. And man, your defense seems to feel like it is finding itself. It is improving. Now we do need to limit our expectations, right? Like, Auburn's offense just isn't good. I mean, it's just not a good offense. So how good do you feel? You feel good that they did some things that they were supposed to do, but like, concerns are still there. Okay. And you saw that when Auburn started throwing the ball, they had some more success. I will say this: I think Sage Ryan right now just has to stay at one of the DB positions, because he seems like to be your most consistent and best DB right now in terms of wideout. Because if you watch, closely as who was getting thrown at a lot, it was Zai. Zai was the one getting thrown at a lot. Sage didn't really allow much. So I think Sage needs to keep playing at the DB, at one of the wideout positions, and Zai and Denver need to rotate, maybe LT and Ashton Samps as well. But Sage right now, to me, seems like your best coverage defensive back. He's not leaving him just wide open all the time. So, and Harold Perkins, man, Harold Perkins had another great game. Had the sack late in the game that really just felt like it was like it really put the nail in the coffin. It kind of was already at that point where the game was over, but that sack was really demoralizing for Auburn, and he just shot off the line and got back there quickly and took Peyton Thorne down. I mean, it was just a great play. It feels like the defensive line is playing much, much better. They were getting pressure. Mekhi Wingo. Hey, Leslie, got a comment here. Leslie, go Tigers. Appreciate you dropping in, Leslie. Go Tigers for sure. But the defensive line definitely seems to be playing better since Pete Jenkins has come and begun to do his work with this defensive line. And, Brian Kelly said that Pete Jenkins told him that this group has a great desire to get better. So I think we're going to continue to see this defensive line progress and get better and better. Man, Braden Swinson, the play that Mekhi Wingo got the sack, because of Braden Swinson. Braden Swinson got held that play. It was called. They penalized Auburn for holding him. But Braden Swinson, man, can just get off the line and get at the quarterback quick and cause problems. So I really like what I see from Braden Swinson. I think he should be, if you're, which you're doing 4 down linemen now, so you don't really technically have like a jack. But I like what I see from Braden Swinson when they put him in that package where it's a little bit of a smaller package, fast and just kind of getting after the quarterback type of package. And man, I think we need to recognize him. Paris Shand had a great game, just a great game. Had a couple tackles for loss and pressure on the quarterback. Really liked what I saw out of Paris Shand. Probably his best game of the year. But Paris Shand has been playing good all year long. He just kind of hasn't been recognized for it, I think, yet. But I think everybody recognized Paris Shand on last Saturday night. So I've been very pleased with the progression of the defensive line under Pete Jenkins. But overall, you dominated Auburn. And if you want me to be honest, I give my predictions. Typically, I give my predictions, and I try to lower my expectations. But I kind of expected this game to be handled by LSU pretty dominantly. But man, it was a blowout. It was a beatdown. LSU dominated all phases, and man, Jay Bramlett continues to do great when he punts the ball. We don't do a whole lot of punting, but when we do, man, Jay delivers. Um, and Caleb Jackson and the return that he had, man. Caleb Jackson is going to be a star at LSU. I mean, he's already starting to make himself very well known. His presence felt. Um, I mean, he laid the wood on Asante, Auburn safety, again, and then of course had the big return that he went. I mean, he took it past the 50-yard line and darn near broke it loose. But man, Caleb Jackson is going to be special. Really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in his time as a Tiger, because man, he looks just explosive and just seems to be ready to play like now. I think Brian Kelly wants him to learn a little bit more, maybe in the pass blocking, and probably needs to learn the offense a little bit better, and things like that. But as an overall back, but man, simply handing him the ball and letting him do what he does is really impressive. It's really impressive. So lots of things to be excited about coming off of last week. Here's some good news as we look towards this week, and the next week obviously is a bye week. You had some injuries. Mekhi Wingo has been battling an injury kind of all year long, and so I think you give him – he's taken the week off. Same with Emory Jones. Emory Jones, I was concerned that he had had pretty bad injury. Thankfully, it is not as bad as they thought, and some of the X-rays were negative. And he's going to sit out this week. So you essentially have like 3 weeks to get Emory better before you play Alabama. So that's really encouraging, because man, this offensive line has been playing just phenomenal, just phenomenal. They've been great, and actually this past week they were listed as one of the still remaining finalists for the Joe Moore Award. Just playing great. I mean, protecting, pass blocking, and run blocking. I mean, they're doing a great job. They really are. I don't think we're talking enough about them. And I really like that continuity with Emory Jones. So you'd like to have him back for the Alabama game, but it is a good thing, I think, in the sense that not in the sense that he's hurt, but it's a good thing that you can give Lance Hurd this game against Army. I mean, he played all the rest of the game against Auburn. Did a good job. He's going to play this entire game against Army. And so if, let's say, Emory doesn't, get fully healthy for the Alabama game, you've almost had 2 games for Lance Hurd, figuring it out and playing well, and just maybe learning a little bit more, in this game. It's getting him some big time reps for a game where, I mean, you're playing Alabama. It's huge implications for the SEC West. So if Emory Jones can't be ready for that game, then obviously you will have Lance Hurd getting these reps, and it'll be a good thing. But I love what I've seen with Emory Jones and the continuity of this offensive line. So I'm really like this non-conference game being scheduled right before the bye week, I think was brilliant. Gives you time to get these guys healthy, like Emory and Mekhi. So Chris Hilton is back. So looking forward to seeing him as well. So it was just a great week. It was a great week. Looking towards the Army game, look, these non-conference games, I don't know how much you want to, how much we preview this. I've been very appreciative about how LSU has treated this week and kind of honored and respected this week. You're playing a service academy. Um, these are guys who they're playing football because they love football, but they know what they're going to be doing, right? They're going to serve our country, and so this is almost like something fun for them. I mean, they're getting to come and play in Death Valley and Baton Rouge. Obviously, look, Army is 2-4. They're going to play disciplined football. They're going to play the way they normally play, hard nosed football. If you come out here and you take care of business, you're going to win this game, right? You're going to win this game. Don't be distracted. Don't get your mind off to the bye week or looking ahead to Bama. Just come in here and do what you're supposed to do. Take care of business, and you'll be fine. But man, they've got the camouflage end zones, and I think they're going to. I think there's more to come, in terms of the game. About what they're going to do because it's Army, So I have really appreciated the respect and the honor that they're showing this team. Um, so I expect this game to go just about how everybody expects it to go. I think LSU will win handily. Um, I think we'll get to see guys like Garrett Nussmeier, and some other guys get some reps by the end of this game. Take care of business, win this game like you should, and beat Army and get healthy in the bye week. That's really all the preview you have. But I have appreciated all the respect that they have shown them all this week, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come today. But take care of business today. Focus on today's game. Go Tigers, beat Army. Appreciate you, Leslie, still being in here, hanging with us. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on around college football to kind of wrap things up here. Really, really big game in the Big Ten to start the day off at 11 o'clock. Number 7, Penn State, playing at the Shoe against Ohio State. I'm pretty pumped for this game. I really don't know who to pick, honestly. I don't really know which way to lean. I want to say Ohio State because it's in the horseshoe. But man, I wouldn't be surprised if Penn State knocked them off. And I think Penn State's a great team. But I'll take the Buckeyes. It's at the horseshoe, and they beat Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame's a really solid team. I think Notre Dame ended up losing to Duke, but and everybody's like, oh, they're overrated again. But last week they beat the brakes off of USC. Obviously, USC's overrated, and Ohio State still beat Notre Dame, who I think is a really solid team. I think the true test for Ohio State is always when they play Michigan this year. But Michigan has got a lot of crap going on with Harbaugh and this investigation of stealing signs or illegal scouting, and they got the problems of their own. So I don't know. This may decide the Big Ten. This game today may decide the Big Ten. Playoff implications are huge for this game. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we're going to find out early. It's an 11 a.m. kick. And then another really important game in the SEC, Tennessee versus Alabama at Alabama. I hate to say this, man, but I'm pulling for Alabama. As LSU fans, you kind of want Alabama to win because when you play Alabama, you want Alabama to be as highly ranked as possible. So that if you're able to knock them off, it's huge for you to go into Tuscaloosa and knock off a top 10 Alabama. They're ranked number 11 right now. If they beat Tennessee, I think they slide into the top 10. So when you go play them, it's going to be a top 10 Alabama team in Tuscaloosa, and you need to build your resume. LSU needs to build their resume, and they need a key win. And if you go beat Alabama in Alabama, and they're a top 10 team, that's going to be huge. That'll be your biggest win in the regular season. And if you're able to pull that off, and you find yourself in the SEC championship at the end of the year, you're going to be playing top-ranked Georgia. And if you can beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa and then knock off Georgia in the SEC championship, I think two-loss SEC champion LSU is in the playoffs just like last year. Look, if you're the SEC champion, you're probably going to be in the playoffs, especially even with two losses. Because your two losses, number one, were earlier in the season. If you beat Alabama and Georgia, I think that means your defense has definitely improved from where it was, and the committee will recognize that. And also, guys, I mean, Jayden Daniels is a Heisman contender. The offense is elite. It is elite. It will compete with any team in the country. It is arguably the best offense in the country. It's between LSU and Washington, like, period. Nobody else is really in that conversation. The best offenses in the country are LSU and Washington. So, I think if we win out and win the SEC championship, we're going to find ourselves in the playoffs, probably at the 4 spot. So you'll be playing whoever's number 1. But look, you really need Alabama to win these games so that it boosts your resume. So weird as it sounds, I will definitely be pulling for Alabama to win this game. You want Alabama to be look as good as they possibly can when you play them. So if you beat them, it looks even better. So those are the two real big games. Duke is playing Florida State, but it's at Florida State, and Riley Leonard is not probably going to be playing, Duke's quarterback. So it's a top 25, almost top 15 matchup, and would be something I would be excited about if Riley Leonard was playing, but he's probably not. So I think Florida State wins in their own stadium. And then Utah and USC, that's not really a big game. USC is extremely overrated in my book. I think Caleb Williams completely fell out of the Heisman race last weekend after throwing 3 interceptions and losing by 28 points to Notre Dame. He's pretty much out of the conversation. If you have any brain between your ears, the Heisman race is between Jayden Daniels and Michael Penix. Dylan Gabriel, I think, should be in that mix as well. They're undefeated. They're undefeated, and he's playing well. His stats don't compare to Jayden and Michael's, but they're not far behind what Jayden and Michael are doing. So I think those are kind of your 3 guys there. Bo Nix obviously had the loss to Washington, so that kind of hurt him a little bit, but I wouldn't say he's falling out of the Heisman conversation. But I think the top dogs are definitely Penix, Jayden, and Dylan Gabriel. And if Jayden, man, just keeps churning it out, just keeps trucking along, he's going to be in New York. He's going to be in New York. I think Jayden, ultimately, if we win out and beat Georgia and find ourselves, in the playoffs, I think Jayden should be the Heisman. But barring something crazy happening, like let's say Michael Penix just has a really bad game, throws 2 interceptions, has a bad game, and he only throws for like 100-something yards. Barring that happening, I think Michael Penix is probably going to win the Heisman. Media and the fact that they're undefeated. Now, look, if he goes out and plays an off game and they lose it, they drop a game, they lose a game, Jaden may find himself as the front runner. But where it stands right now, realistically, I think we understand that because he's undefeated and what he's doing as well puts him as the front runner. And I'm not saying he's my front runner, but I think that's the reality of how college football typically goes. So it is what it is. We'll see how it plays out, though. But Jaden's got himself right in the mix. All right, guys, I'm going to hit a quick break real quick. Appreciate Leslie and Peggy being in here and listening to me banter. We'll come back right after this break and wrap things up.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right, right back at it here to wrap things up. Appreciate you guys joining in. It's been a good show. Hopefully we'll get Zach back in here for our next episode. We'll have a full-scale show for y'all on Monday to recap the Army game and heading into the bye week. And we'll do that on Monday. Appreciate you guys very much. Go Tigers. Hopefully they'll beat Army. I think the goal for this week is to stay healthy. Stay healthy. Beat Army. Stay healthy. And get ready for a bye week to rest and recover to prepare yourself for the big game in Tuscaloosa. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all for interacting as always. We'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue. 5-Star Hero takes us out. Peace.
Who that?